Every good gardener knows that what happens beneath the soil is just as important as what we see above. The soil is not just dirt, it is a living, breathing community. It is teeming with billions of microscopic organisms. These are the bacteria, fungi, and other tiny creatures that form the soil food web. They are the unsung heroes of our gardens. They work tirelessly, breaking down organic matter into nutrients that our plants can absorb. Without this bustling underground city, our plants would struggle to find the food they need to grow strong and healthy. A truly vibrant garden starts with vibrant soil life. We often add compost and manure to feed our soil, and rightly so. These are the cornerstones of good organic gardening. But sometimes, we want to give the microbial life a more direct and immediate boost. Think of it as giving them a specific treat, a special meal to get them working with extra vigor. This is where common kitchen staples like rice, wheat bran, and even flour come into play. These simple ingredients are rich in carbohydrates, which are pure energy for microbes. They act as a wake-up call, encouraging the microbial population to multiply and get to work, unlocking the latent potential within your soil. Using these pantry items is a wonderful way to connect our kitchens to our gardens. It is a thrifty and sustainable practice. We are taking simple, natural products and using them to enhance the complex ecosystem right under our feet. It is not about complicated chemicals or expensive solutions. It is about understanding the fundamental needs of the life in our soil and providing for them in a simple, direct manner. This approach puts the power back into the hands of the gardener, allowing us to become true custodians of our little patch of earth, nurturing it from the ground up. The key difference between these three ingredients lies in how quickly they release their energy. Some offer a sudden, explosive burst of activity, while others provide a slow, sustained release of food. Understanding this difference is crucial. It allows us to choose the right amendment for the right situation. Are you trying to revitalize a tired, compacted bed for spring planting? Or are you looking to build long-term fertility and structure in an established border? Each of these goals might call for a different approach, a different microbial meal. Let us explore these options so you can make the best choice for your own garden. Rice water is perhaps the gentlest and simplest of these microbial stimulants. When you rinse rice before cooking, the cloudy water you are left with is full of starch. This starchy water is a fantastic, readily available food source for beneficial bacteria. It is a very mild, liquid fertilizer that gives the soil a gentle nudge rather than a hard shove. It provides a quick, easy-to-digest meal that can get things moving in the soil without being too overwhelming. I find it is a lovely, almost ritualistic way to connect the preparation of my own food with the feeding of my garden's invisible workforce. Making and using rice water could not be simpler. After you have rinsed your uncooked rice, do not pour that valuable water down the drain. Instead, collect it in a jug or a watering can. You can use it immediately, or you can let it sit and ferment for a day or two. Fermenting it slightly lowers the pH and allows some beneficial lactobacilli to develop, which are excellent for soil health. You then simply dilute this rice water, perhaps 1 part rice water to 1 or 2 parts plain water, and use it to drench the soil around your plants. It is perfect for houseplants, container gardens, and vegetable seedlings. What results can you expect? The effects of rice water are subtle but noticeable over time. Because it is a light feed, you will not see a dramatic change overnight. Instead, you will see a gradual improvement in soil vitality and plant vigor. Plants may look a little greener, a little perkier. The soil in your pots might retain moisture better and have a slightly richer, more earthy smell. It is an excellent tonic for young plants, helping to establish a healthy root system by feeding the microbes that support them. It is a gesture of kindness to your soil, and kindness in the garden is always rewarded. The main benefit of rice water is its gentleness and accessibility. It is almost impossible to overdo it. There is no risk of burning plant roots or creating any kind of imbalance in the soil. It is a byproduct of cooking, so it costs nothing and reduces waste. The drawback, of course, is that its effects are not very long-lasting. The simple carbohydrates are consumed quickly by the microbes, so for a sustained benefit, you would need to apply it regularly, perhaps once a week. Think of it as a gentle, weekly supplement rather than a major overhaul of your soil's diet. If rice water is a quick snack, wheat bran is a hearty, slow-cooked meal for your soil. Wheat bran is the outer layer of the wheat kernel. It is incredibly rich in fiber, protein, and minerals. Unlike the simple starches in rice water or flour, these complex carbohydrates take much longer for soil microbes to break down. This slow decomposition process means that wheat bran provides a sustained source of food for a much wider range of microorganisms, including beneficial fungi. This slow-release action is its main advantage, building lasting soil health rather than providing a fleeting boost. This slower breakdown has other significant benefits. As the microbes and fungi work on the bran, they create sticky substances that bind soil particles together. This process, known as aggregation, is a key to building good soil structure. It creates a crumbly, friable texture that improves aeration and water drainage, while also helping the soil to hold on to moisture. Furthermore, this feast attracts larger members of the soil community. Earthworms, in particular, adore wheat bran. They will tunnel through the soil to get to it, and their burrowing activity is one of the best things you can do for your garden, creating channels for air and water. To use wheat bran, you simply sprinkle it lightly over the surface of your soil. A fine dusting is all that is needed. You do not want to create a thick, impenetrable layer. I like to apply it around the base of established perennials, shrubs, and in my vegetable beds before a new planting. After sprinkling it on, I gently rake it into the top inch or so of soil. This helps to incorporate it and starts the decomposition process. You can then water it in lightly. Applying it in the autumn is particularly beneficial, as it gives the soil life all winter to work on it, preparing a beautifully structured and fertile bed for spring. The long-term rewards of using wheat bran are substantial. It is not just a microbial stimulant, it is a true soil conditioner. It builds humus, improves structure, and encourages a diverse and resilient soil food web. The downside is that you will not see immediate, dramatic results. Its magic is worked slowly, over months and even years. It is a method for the patient gardener, one who is interested in the long-term stewardship of their soil. It is an investment in the future fertility and health of your garden, and like all good investments, it pays handsome dividends over time. Now we come to flour. Using plain old wheat flour is honestly the most explosive way to wake up your soil microbes. Flour is made from the endosperm of the wheat grain, which is almost pure, refined starch. These are very simple carbohydrates, and for soil bacteria, this is like setting out a table piled high with sugar. The bacterial population responds almost instantly, undergoing a massive population boom. This burst of activity can release a rapid flush of nutrients into the soil as the bacteria consume, reproduce, and die. It is, without a doubt, the fastest way to get your soil life buzzing with energy. This method can be useful in very specific situations. For example, if you have a piece of ground that seems lifeless and compacted, a dose of flour can act like a defibrillator, kickstarting the biological processes. It can also be a way to jumpstart a new compost pile, providing an immediate food source for the first wave of decomposer bacteria. However, this method really does require a great deal of caution. The microbial explosion is so rapid and intense that it can temporarily deplete the soil of oxygen as the bacteria respire. This can create anaerobic conditions, which are harmful to plant roots and beneficial aerobic organisms. Because of this intensity, you must use flour very sparingly. A very, very light dusting is all you should ever apply, much less than you would use with wheat bran. It is best to rake it into the surface and water it in well to disperse it. I would caution against ever using it directly around the roots of established or sensitive plants. A better use is on a fallow bed, a few weeks before you intend to plant. This gives the microbial population time to boom and then bust, stabilizing before you introduce your crops. Never apply it in thick clumps, as this can create a slimy, moldy mess. The main drawback of flour is its volatility. It creates a boom and bust cycle in the soil. The rapid bacterial growth can temporarily lock up nitrogen, making it unavailable to plants. While this nitrogen is released later when the bacteria die, the timing can be unpredictable. The rapid decomposition offers no long-term benefits for soil structure in the way that wheat bran does. It is a short-term fix, a quick hit of energy with potentially risky side effects if used incorrectly. It is a tool for the experienced gardener who understands the risks and is using it for a very specific short-term goal. So, which of these kitchen staples is right for your garden? The answer, as it so often is in gardening, depends entirely on your goals. There is no single best option. There is only the best option for a particular situation. If you are a new gardener, or if you are tending to delicate seedlings and houseplants, I would wholeheartedly recommend you start with rice water. It is gentle, safe, and a wonderful way to begin your journey into feeding your soil. Its regular use will provide a mild, consistent tonic that supports healthy growth without any risk. For the gardener focused on long-term soil building, wheat bran is the undisputed champion. If your goal is to improve the structure of heavy clay or to add body to sandy soil, this is your tool. It is the perfect amendment for established perennial borders, fruit bushes, and your main vegetable plot. It builds a legacy of fertility, creating a rich, dark, crumbly loam that is the foundation of any great garden. Its slow, patient work encourages a complex and stable ecosystem, bringing in the earthworms and beneficial fungi that are the architects of good soil. It is the choice for building a resilient and self-sustaining garden. Flour, with its explosive power, should be reserved for very specific corrective tasks. Perhaps you need to rapidly break down a tough pile of green material in your compost, or you want to invigorate a patch of completely dormant, barren soil well ahead of planting. It is a specialist tool, not an everyday soil amendment. Use it with knowledge and extreme caution. For the vast majority of gardeners, the gentler, more sustainable benefits of rice water and wheat bran will be far more useful and much safer. The potential for doing more harm than good with flour is significant for the unwary. Ultimately, I encourage you to experiment. Your garden is your own personal laboratory. Try using rice water on your potted herbs and see if they seem perkier. Add wheat bran to one of your vegetable beds this autumn and compare its texture to an untreated bed next spring. The most important thing is to observe. Pay attention to the smell of your soil, its texture, the number of worms you see. The soil will tell you what it needs if you learn to listen. By thoughtfully feeding the microscopic life beneath your feet, you are engaging in the most fundamental and rewarding act of gardening.